This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Nice strike! Oh, better than nice!
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I am your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Shout out to everyone who's tuned in on the Instagram live at Omar Adori. Kareen, Terry, Sheikha, Fahad, Marvish. Spicy is back. Spicy, where you been, man? We missed you in the room. Who else have I got here? Yeah, and Fatima as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. All right, so today we're going to try and spice up a little bit. And the legend herself, Sally Musa, one of my favorites, who set the bar high. What's up, Sally? How you doing? Today I'm talking about how exercise stimulates mental health. Now, a lot of the time we speak about things that work for us, but one size doesn't fit all. So I want you to text me on 4215 Itasalat or slide into my DMs at Omar Adori on Instagram and let me know what type of exercise or activity stimulates your mental fitness, your mental health. So on the first segment, that's what I'm going to be doing. And on the second segment, what's really happening at Barcelona? Everyone's talking about Messi, but not many people are talking about Barcelona. So we have that review. On segment 3, what is UAE sports? Now, with all the talent that we have here, and we have a lot of talented athletes, I've been very fortunate enough to work with a lot of them here in the country, and there's still more coming in the younger generation. But what is the UAE's sport? Is it jiu-jitsu? Is it football? Is it cricket? Is it basketball? Is it tennis? Is it rugby? Is it boxing? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know on that. And then finally, on the last segment, we're going to be taking all your questions and hopefully trying to answer them on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
Oh, he loves the fire then! What a goal!
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Salam and welcome back to the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Hope you're having a blessed day wherever you're tuned in around the world, whether it's 95 FM, Pulse95Radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, or even if you're in the comfort of your very own home, watching us on the YouTube on Pulse 95 live streaming. God, you can't say we don't spoil you. Thank you to Mikey and Hani Balkis for keeping me company during the break, which was really interesting. If you were on the Instagram, you would have seen all the antics that we get up to here at Pulse 95. Okay, one of the topics which is quite serious, and we talk about this a lot here, and something that I, am a product of, and therefore really use the platform to promote it by bringing on specialists, by bringing on guests, and even by getting your own opinions on mental health. Mental health is something that's quite dear to me, merely because we all go through it in our own way. We all face that challenge. And one of the things that I like to talk about is ways to help promote mental fitness. And in promoting mental fitness, it kind of helps, balance out life with stress, anxiety, and everything else. And that's something that we all face, and how we manage it and how we cope with it is very, very important. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is we've often looked at sports as a form of escapism to be able to get through things. And the reason why is because a lot of the times we don't have our phones, we don't have our computers, work can't get in touch, we're kind of in the zone, and we kind of let loose, de-stress. One of the ways to do that is martial arts. And why is it that? Because with mixed martial arts, there's so many different types of things. There's karate, there's jiu-jitsu, there's boxing, there's wrestling. There's so many things you can kind of work on. But when it comes down to mixed martial arts, the thing I like about that is it teaches us how to work under pressure and to be able to almost reset and take things slow in a high-pressure situation, or in something that we normally would face at work, or if you're basically going through withdrawals, or you have symptoms that basically allow you to feel anxious. Now, we're here to help. So how we're going to do that? We're going to look at the benefits of taking up a sport like mixed martial arts and what it takes to flourish. Now, if you're a parent who's tuned into the Halftime Show and you want to know why this would not just be good for you, but for the kids, starting them off young can help them with their sympathetic versus their parasympathetic phase in terms of how they manage the brain. And in managing the brain, that helps with so many factors in getting, I'd say, the right balance to be able to stimulate the brain. Sometimes, we've all had those days when we don't have enough energy to go train, but when you have gone, you felt a lot better, and that could be through a training partner, that could be through a group of people, or an instructor, or even someone that, helps elevate you as a person. And here's how I look at it. The This result feeling of happiness, relaxation, and optimism, which is experienced as soon as you finish exercising, is partly due to the chemical changes that take place in your body after exercise. The production of endorphins, for example, after a run, can act as a natural antidepressant without the side effects, relieving tension and boosting mental energy. Now, with all these things in mind, you gotta factor that everyone has their own sport, everyone has their own stimulants. Certain things may appeal to you that don't appeal to me, and vice versa, but it isn't really the fact that one size fits all. It's what works for you. So I want to know what sport works for you and what helps you get the balance right when it comes to mental fitness and mental health. 4215 Etisalat Urdu, or slide into my DMs at Omar Duri on Instagram and let me know. That's kind of something that I'm touching upon today, and I want to know how you guys do it and how you guys balance that out. We spoke about the ability to work under pressure. Now, often when you face a tougher opponent or a more skilled opponent, that forces a challenge out of you to test how far you are from being on that level, if that's someone you're working with precisely for development. And even that, it's something that we kind of have to look at and say, how does that help us? It allows the experience of the benefits of oxytocin. Now, for those who don't know, it's a hormone often referred to as the love, empathy hormone, and it's produced in response to physical contact, and it plays a major role in social bonding. So, for example, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the competitors are in constant physical contact, obviously pre-COVID and everything, that it forces those endorphins to act, and it experiences the oxytocin hormone. Now, it also allows us to be present in the moment, because a lot of the times we're distracted easily by what's going on, but we're not actually in the moment. And sometimes it takes away what we're trying to do. If it's a phone call, if you have children, for example, and one of them needs attending, if it's a work email, if it's someone at home, there's so many things that could distract you. But being in that scenario, that situation, to be able to handle that is one of the things that helps manage mental fitness. It's also about trying to eradicate the negative and emotional habits that we've had over the past, because it didn't just start now. That's another thing we've got to bear in mind. Sometimes it takes a lot of practice. Just like physically, when it comes down to exercise, we work those muscles, we work them and work them and work them. Mental fitness is exactly the same thing. It isn't fixed in one day. It might be an instant relief. You might feel good. However, the more you practice, the better you are at handling pressure, handling so many things that then go back to family and work and relationships and so many different factors. So for today, I thought I'd look at mixed martial arts as a way to help you possibly find your mental fitness hack, which can help you manage stress. There you go. You see, you can't say I don't look after you. What works for you? 4215 Etisalat Urdu, or slide into my DMs and let me know what works for you in terms of sport. Thank you, Spicy. Thank you, Alat, for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I'll be back straight after this. Enjoy.
Oh, he loves the fire, and what a goal!
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Nice strike! Oh, better than nice!
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. I know you're loving the tunes, and I got to give a special shout out to all my Pulse 95 radio family, from RR, Ray, and Sama, and all the people that make these tunes work and make them tick and put them on these timelines for us. Thank you very much. And everyone else from the Pulse 95 family who is, showing love. Right, a couple of great comments here on the first segment. If you're just tuning in, we spoke about how sports, and in particular today we spoke about mixed martial arts, but this applies to a lot of different sports, help with mental fitness and mental health. And some of the comments that came in here were fantastic, which I've got to kind of read out. Dino from the UK says, science tells us that the release of endorphins in any sport or discipline will help with dealing with life's challenges. Boxing is an impact sport which you can get the extra stress release. I love that. You just got yourself a new fan. Thank you very much. Vibes, what's up, Dana? Florin is back in New York and he's talking to us as well. Marvish, right, boxing improves my reflexes and giving me confidence to talk to people. I find it very hard to go to someone and talk, but now I am trying. And for those that don't know, Marvish is an avid listener on the Halftime Show and someone I love having on the Instagram Live at Omar Al Duri. And I've actually seen this woman grow so much personally, like from a mental point of view, which has been great. She's been attending boxing sessions. Actually, before I knew she was at RBO, I actually asked her. She said, I said, if you love boxing, you need to go to RBO and go to Fahima's class. And she's like, I'm already there. It's like, okay, great. At least the world's intertwined, which I loved. Dinner with Flo, right? So Florin is saying, we all suffer from mental health. How we cope and deal with the stress of it is what separates up. I agree 100%, my bro. With any sport, it's about discipline. I believe that the human body works best when the mind is disciplined. Very nice. I think you guys are really nailing it. What's up, Lynn, as well? One of my favorite coaches. She's in the building. You've got Marvish, you've got Murad, you've got everyone. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome, man. I really appreciate the love. Now, with the UAE, there is so much talent here. Athletically, physically, mentally, there's so much talent here. But what would you consider UAE sport? Now, think about that question for a second, because is it boxing? Is it football? Is it cricket? Is it basketball? Is it jiu-jitsu? Jiu-jitsu is huge here in the UAE. Dino's saying, I think boxing is a great sport for people who have to implement discipline in their day-to-day lives. It's good to be disciplined too sometimes. This is the thing, like, we have so much talent here, and yet it's more, we kind of watch sport and admire it rather than participate on the platforms that we should do. And that's something that I've been very, very fortunate enough to kind of watch as a coach, as a person. I love watching, especially, we had Almas on the show, the 12-year-old. Now she's 13. Happy birthday, Almas. Her birthday is on the 1st, so that's tomorrow. So I'll give her a shout out on Wednesday. And she turned 13. We had her here as an aspiring, athlete and someone that was going to be playing for the Jordanian national team at 13. I was amazed when she said she wanted to be a neurosurgeon. And she said she was using football as a platform to be able to get what she wants to do, but also wants to focus on education. I wasn't thinking of those things at that time. So you see talent like that, and then you wonder and you think, why don't we have a sport here? Now, many might say football, but then if it was football, then we'd have more participation and qualification for the major tournaments, because we've got talented people like Arij, like Lynn, who are incredible footballers and very, very talented. And that's something that I kind of want to touch on as well, because why are we being given the opportunities? Are we getting the right exposure for the women's game, for the men's game? I know the men's game, obviously gets funded quite a lot, but even with the women's game, there's a huge say in that. So with the talent that we have here, what do you consider UAE's sport? 4215 Etisalat Urdu, or slide into my DMs and Omar Al Duri and let me know. I've got a few people throwing in some comments now, like Misha saying, can Nigerians participate in sports in the UAE? Example, basketball. I shouldn't see why not. I think that would be a great platform to do that, Misha, to be honest. Dinner with Flo says, I run so I can eat KFC bucket when I want. I box to release the anger and tension, and I do yoga for meditation and strength. That looks like a great plan, Flo. You got that figured out. See, we spoke about footballers, and now we're starting to get Nahum, who's a part of... we got Mia as well. She's in the room. Arij, jiu-jitsu, football, horse riding, falconry, in that order. Very interesting. And also, speaking about one of the best coaches, the Samoan strength coach himself, Zion Afile, what a legend, ex-rugby player and strength and conditioning coach right in Canada, is tuned in. So shout out to you, Zion, and your amazing family. Let me know what your sport is, guys. What do you think the UAE sport is? I'm not sure what the nationality qualifications is, but certainly when they allowed it in rugby, it became more popular. And speaking about that, Terry, in the room on Instagram Live now, you got an ex-rugby player who represented Samoa. So that's something you can probably pick his brain about. But coming up next, we're talking about what's happening at Barcelona with the Messi saga and what's going to happen when he leaves. Find out on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95.
Oh, he loves the fire, then what a goal!
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Al Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. See, if you guys are tuning in just now, you kind of miss a lot of the good stuff that happens here. I'm glad I got that line right. You kind of miss a lot of the good stuff that happens here. We had We had Hani Bilqis from Future Talk. We had Mikey from Afternoon Karak. We had Umniya Saleh from Future Talk coming in, adding their bit of sprinkle, a little bit of flavor on there. And then showing us, what they do and what role they play, at the halftime show and everything. So I'm very, very happy with that. We spoke about mental health today and how sports can help it. We spoke about how that it can teach you certain things like handling pressure. In the second segment, the question I asked is, what is UAE's national sport? What is the sport that we can say is our sport? Because we have a lot of talent here, and rightfully so, and a lot of people that actually, come in and join in on the Instagram Live. Shout out to Tariq and Rohan, who are just jumping in the room as we speak. And we kind of take your opinions and your views and we kind of mash it up together and try and share out there on the platform to try and see what is happening. Now, one of the things I will be talking about, and a lot of people have kind of asked me this question, especially with the whole Messi saga. I think it's in every publication at the moment, and Florin mentioned this as well from New York, who's tuned in. This whole Messi drama has kind of got really out of hand. But then again, when you have one of the best footballers in the world wanting to leave his club, how difficult is that to manage? A lot of blame is going to Bartomeu, the president of Barcelona. People are saying that he needs to step down and resign, but even if he does step down and resign, Messi's already in too deep and already said that he's going to leave. And even if he does step down for those factors, it doesn't make sense because in March he will leave his position anyway, and that will give the opportunity for the vice president to take over, who's also under Bartomeu's umbrella. So with all that in mind, it does tell you that it's going to kind of be the same thing. Now, let's look at the positive. Barcelona fans must stop tuning into the halftime show because they were talking great games before that, and then all of a sudden now it's kind of a bit of doom and gloom now. Where are they going to take it from here? What's going to happen? A lot of the times, we look at a team, and this could be the biggest blessing in disguise. We all know that Messi has a 700 million release clause that he is now trying to fight with Barcelona to be released. The thing and the factor with that is in June it would have been free, but because of the pandemic, the league got extended, and when it got extended, the clause was eradicated. Now, by doing so, if Barcelona were to get that money, think of, especially if Messi does go to his destination that everyone is talking about, which is Manchester City, that would then take away the idea of Neymar and Messi teaming up together. Neymar has his love for Barcelona, and the person that is, let's say guilty of getting rid of him has been Bartomeu. If Bartomeu gets released, then that is someone that they can bring back in as one of the replacements, because I do believe they have to address a lot of issues, not just the attacking one. They do have a lot of talent, by the way, but bringing back Neymar, and let's say if Neymar and Mbappe are one person when it comes down to the transfer, spending that money, I would think now, especially with the current pandemic, the only thing that would kind of be crazy money would be Messi. Looking at Neymar, let's say, trying to consider that the prices will drop. If Neymar was to go for, let's say, 250 and, Mbappe, or let's say Mbappe and Neymar were both to go for 400, that's crazy money, but let's say that. There'd still be about 300 million left. Among that, Koulibaly would be the first one I'd go and buy, 110 million. Upamecano, that's about another 80, 90 million. That's your money that you made off Messi. Then you put it along with the talent they have already in Griezmann, Dembele, Ansu Fati, Ricky Puig, Alba, Ter Stegen. They got some talent there. They got some really, really talented people there. If they kept Coutinho, that's another one. All of a sudden, that is a real force to be reckoned with. And if they invest that money wisely, then that Barcelona team will be formidable. Now, especially if Messi's not going to be teamed up with Neymar, I believe personally whoever's president next would be looking at Neymar as one of the direct replacements. And then you pair that up with Griezmann and Ansu Fati and Dembele if he can stay injury-free, and then Coutinho in support and Ricky Puig. With all that is a talented squad. So there's so many factors there. It's not doom and gloom for Barcelona. If they get their transfers right and start to build, I'm hearing Van der Beek is going to Man United. That would have been a player that would have slotted in, especially with De Jong already there, the Ajax connection. That would have been interesting. And looking at those type of players, Barca, if you have that kind of money, go get Kante. Oh my God, if you got Kante in your team, that's another one. So we've named a couple of players that could be on your shopping list. If you were to let go of Messi, whether he's to buy out his own contract or get funded by New York and then they loan him back to City, we mentioned that on the show a while back. Whatever happens with that kind of money, Upamecano, Koulibaly, Kante, then you look at the people like Mbappe and Neymar, get them in and wow, what a team you would have there at Barcelona. That would be insane to look at that. And then you might compete with Real Madrid. Hey, Real Madrid fans, there you go. See, I did give you a mention as well. But what do you guys think with what's happening with Barcelona? Do you think there is a chance for them to rebuild, or do you think they won't be investing that kind of money and Messi will stay? That is there for you to decide. Let me know. Slide into the DMs at Omar Duri or text me 4215 and I'll be back right after this. Danny Neville and Verse Simmons. Shout out to Danny Neville. Big tune coming up. Here we go.
Oh, he loves the fire and what a goal!
This is the halftime show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Nice strike! Oh, better than nice!
Salam and welcome back to the halftime show with Omar Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Shout out to Danny Neville as well, with some great music. He's producing some really good tunes. Anna Schofield, Big Hass, MJ, Leanne, Flo, Dino, Terry, Karine, Maria, Fatima, Derek. I missed out anyone? Subhi. Give me a thumbs up if you're in the room. I'll give you a shout. If you're missing the show, remember, guys, you can catch us anytime on Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Rami as a podcast. Or even if you prefer a visual, you can head over to our YouTube channels and check out the Pulse 95 Radio page where we got all the halftime show episodes there. And also the other guys have some great shows there. Afternoon Karak, Morning Majlis, which I tune into, Future Talk as well, Yalla Home. Man, we got some great shows there with some great hosts as well, and we love those guys. So yeah, so if you do miss the shows, don't worry. I know it's that's why we say it's the only place to be at 3, because you shouldn't be anywhere else but the show. But if you got work or you're in a meeting, I'll kind of let it slide as long as you go over to the YouTube channel and check it out. We got some very good stuff there. All right, Safe's got a question coming in. This is the time where I take your questions. So let's take the first question in. Should the Premier League keep 5 subs for next season? You know what, Safe? It's a very good question. I don't think they should, merely for the fact that the so-called smaller clubs who don't invest are going to be in a lot of trouble. And we kind of figured that out, that when you bring on 5 substitutes, it can be very hefty. It's a squad game. And I think that's why Chelsea have signed so many players in so many different positions to be able to take that rule. I hope they don't. I hope they keep it to 3. The Champions League made me think, though, that one game knockout competition, that kind of made me think. So that, hope that answers your question. Barcelona will have to rebuild, but Messi is not rebuildable. He will have to retire sooner or later. I agree with that. I very much agree with that. One of my favorite resetters, Leanne, is in the building, recovering, coming back stronger than ever. So shout out to Leanne. Another question coming in. Can Leeds emulate what Sheffield United have done and stay in the league? Very good question. I genuinely believe they will. I even might go one further and say they'll emulate Wolves, which is a big statement. But because they have my favorite coach, and I was speaking to Kareem and Diana earlier about this in the office, my favorite coach in the world is Marcelo Bielsa. I did a show on him last year, and I just love what he stands for, his philosophy, his methods. He's a fantastic coach. And I really love the style that he implements with his players. And he treats them as people as well as athletes. So I really think Leeds, hopefully, fingers crossed, not only will stay in the league, but I hope they probably get top 10. There you go. There's my statement for the season when it comes to that. I think they might get top 10. And this league is very competitive. And shout out to our silent listener as well, Arij Al Hamadi, a world record breaker, UAE national team footballer as well. And she's in the room and she calls herself the silent listener, which I'll take all day as long as she's listening. And Misha as well, and Florin and Subhi and MJ and everyone else who's tuned in. That's what we're about here. You know, the halftime show does like to cover things more than just sports, from ringside point of view, locker room point of view, and behind the scenes. We kind of really, really like that. Another question is coming in from Dino. Is Newcastle still for sale? They're definitely still for sale. Can we start a GoFundMe page, seen as that the Saudis are taking so long? That's a very good point. Very, very good point, Saif. I would love to see Newcastle taken over. I'm sure Abdul Karim from the Morning Majlis would love to see that as well. I've got to give him a shout out. He always gives me a shout out in the morning. Especially, I'm always tuning in at a specific time with those guys. And the show is great, so make sure you cover that. What's up, Ryan? Ruthless Ryan in the building. Top 14 ranked boxer at the moment now. And one of the coaches I learned a lot from. So shout out to Ryan and Abby, of course, if she's next to you. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think of the show. We always love your feedback here. 4215 Etisalat or do slide into my DMs at Omar Duri and let me know. We are coming to full time on the halftime show. Here's the full time whistle right there. But before that, let me take one more question. Go on, Sobhi. Reuniting Guardiola and Messi at Man City, is that a good idea? I actually think that's a fantastic idea because I think they both need each other. I think Guardiola is always going to be criticised for not winning the Champions League with Manchester City. Messi needs a new challenge. The Premier League will be very, very different. I think it adds such a different storyline to what we already have, which will be fantastic. I think it is a good idea. It's for many, many years we questioned his talent. And I think his character, not his talent. And now we're finally getting that. So that's great. We have reached full time on the halftime show. It is another one. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Stay blessed, and I'll see you soon.
Pulse 95. You're listening to Pulse 95. Pulse 95.
It's Pulse 95.